The Stage Door Show, celebrating the independent artist. With your host, Dave Hondell.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to The Stage Door Show. Tonight, this is Dave Hondell. I'm very excited for tonight's guest. She's a multi-Emmy award-winning actress and producer who you've not only seen, but have heard as one of the busiest voiceover actors in Hollywood. Ms. Summers in Boss Baby on Netflix, Nova Swift in the DreamWorks series Trolls, The Beat Goes On Netflix, and so many more. And we're thrilled she's joining us tonight. So please welcome to The Stage Door Show, Sainty Nelsen. Thank you for being with us, Sainty.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here.
Well, we're honored as well. And, before we get started, I have to ask you about the name Sainty. Was that given to you, or was that like a nickname, or this great name?
It's so wild. It's actually, I just did a post about this on my Instagram. I'm actually fifth generation of Molly's. So my real name is Molly St. John. Well, it was Reed, but now Nelson.
Sure.
And so each of us have nicknames. So they've called me Sainty since the day I was born. So my mom's Molly, my grandmother's now called Sissy, and my daughter's Molly Morgan. And then it was the grand Molly who's no longer with us. So yes, I'm just a fifth legacy of Molly's.
Well, it's a great name and great story as well. And also just growing up, I know I a lot of theater. I saw a lot of regional theater, Walt Disney World, and was that kind of your start in the acting world, or did it start before that? And I guess when did you get that passion for acting?
Totally. It's actually so interesting. My parents have nothing to do with the entertainment industry. My dad is an insurance salesman and owns his own brokerage, but we say he's like a secret rock star, like hidden. Yeah. He's got this incredible voice. And my mom was a third grade school teacher, and they had me and at 3 years old, I had this super raspy voice, and I told them that I wanted to be a star. And so they signed me up for Casa Manana, and I was actually the youngest Casa Manana professional equity member in their Christmas show at 3 years old in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and had my little equity contract. And from then it just I found such a home. We were talking about prior, a safe space in the theater.
Right.
And I was so lucky. It was after that, I couldn't get enough of it. And I think because my parents weren't in the arts, I never had the pressure of you hear stage parents or, cheer moms or sports parents. I didn't have that. I got to do it all on my own. And any classes I had to find myself, and any teachers I had to go look out for on my own. So it was so amazing that I feel like I never got sick of it. And so then I went to college for musical theater and did a showcase and got an agent and moved to New York, and immediately booked Finding Nemo, the musical. And I played Dory. And then it just kind of spiraled from there. I was so blessed in that sense to really continue my professional career. And I know I'm a talker nonstop. I could just go.
I love it. No, this is great. It's a great story.
So it's so wild. And because of the little 3-year-old raspy voice in me, I did obviously Dory, and then auditioned for my first pilot with Dennis Leary's Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll. And Dennis is such a voiceover star. Yeah. He was the one that was like, you sound like a Rugrat. What are you doing? You need to do voiceover. Yeah. And that was kind of it. It was like this little Dennis Leary guardian angel kind of led me into the career where I was meant to be. And I've been so thankful and blessed, and have been on all these amazing fun shows. And now I have a 1 and 3-year-old that I get to share my voice with. So I giggle, my Molly Morgan, it's her pickup line, because I'm on a show called Gabby's Dollhouse, which is the number 1 on Netflix. Yeah. And she will be at the pool and she'll go, my mom's pillow cat. And I'm like, oh my God, she's using me as her friend pickup line. And she could care less. She does not it's nothing to her. And then the first time I heard that, I was like, oh, so you kind of think I'm cool.
Yeah, right.
You're using me for it. I see you, sister.
It's funny. It's funny with the voice like that, and I've always said this on my shows with voice actors, because I believe you almost have to work harder at voice, because you have to exude that character through your voice. And you can act as much as you want behind the scenes, but nobody's going to see that piece of it. But in order to get that voice to get to where you need it to be, that's acting in itself, and people I don't think realize the work that goes into voice acting, right?
What's such a special thing, I heard it best too. It's like to become a working voiceover actor, someone has to die out. And it's so because it's such a special, tight-knit industry.
Right.
And your voice really doesn't age. It ages a little, but a lot of us are playing these characters. So it's just everybody's so humble and amazing. And it really is so cool because these actors don't want to be known for their face. And they don't want to be known, in the streets. So it's like, we really are morphing ourselves into these different people. So it's super, super cool. And I really am so honored to be a part of it.
When you do a character, let's say, does it take a while to get into that character? Because I know you do multiple characters that have different sounds, but how do you create that different sound and get into that space mentally? Because I know when you're doing a character, I mean, you really have to kind of, do you picture that character on TV? And get
totally.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
I play an eagle on Ridley Jones. And so when I got the audition, I knew it was an eagle. That's all they gave me. It's an eagle. And it's like, okay, what is an eagle? And I was like, bold, intense. And I was like, intense. And you'll giggle at this. I was like, why don't I make her from New Jersey? And I was like, why? I should make her like a 40, 50-year-old like New Jersey mom.
Jersey girl. Yeah.
I'm obsessed with Real Housewives.
Yeah.
So I was watching, of course, like Teresa Giudice and all of these and I was like, Caroline Mayenzo. And I was like, that is them. So I auditioned. Of course, I had nothing except eagle. So that's kind of how you just kind of roll into that. Nova Swift. I got character Nova Swift and I was like, Nova, that's kind of like the stars. And then I was like, Swift, Taylor Swift. I was like, so she's got to be this like bigger than life actress, performer. So it's really, I think the cool part about voiceover is a lot of the time you don't get a picture of what the character looks like.
Yeah.
So you really just get to imagine the world. And sometimes you're lucky they morph it into that.
Yeah.
Like immediately with Ridley Jones, they were like, oh my gosh, of course she's that. Right. She has to be from New Jersey. So I really think that has been my kind of special niche in the voiceover world is I just taught a class and I was like, that you get to create, like you get to be the animator as well as the voice for it. You really get to become this whole being and it doesn't matter what you look like. It just matters if your voice can portray that.
When you ever see something back that you voiced over, and I know down the road, however long it takes to animate it, but when you actually see it come to life, it's got to be kind of a cool experience to see the whole thing come to life, right?
Oh my gosh, it's so wild. Especially a lot of time, it's like a year to 2 years.
Yeah.
You do something and then it's like, I mean, Gabby's Dollhouse I've done since before having children. So I've had 2 children and COVID and so much life happened in that series that like I really do get emotional depending when I'm watching the episode, being like, oh my gosh, that was that part of my life. And I recorded, it's wild. I had a C-section with Molly Morgan and I recorded there's a picture of me on my Instagram hiding behind the sink, under the sink after my C-section of Molly Morgan recording. Gabby's
my gosh, really?
Yes. I mean, it's literally, you got to look on my Instagram. Yeah. And I was like, that's just so many part of my life is through memories of like that. And my friends, they make so much fun. They giggle. They're like, I'll hear you over my baby monitor and think you're talking to my child.
Oh,
so many of them are like, oh my gosh, I forget that is what you do because I seem like just so much like a mom in real life that it's like, oh wait, you have this secret career on the side of being a voiceover actress. So it's so special and it's really cool.
Growing up in Texas, I know there's a lot of, the bigger cities, I'm sure there's a lot of arts and, the theater and so forth like that. But now for all of our listeners out there that might not be in a big market, like say New York, Philadelphia, or, Chicago or LA or anything like that, where they grow up in a smaller, I always try to inspire them by saying, look, it doesn't matter where you grow up. You could put your footprint anywhere, and you don't necessarily have to be in a big city. So what are your thoughts on that? And, it doesn't matter what they do, but they can still be successful where they are. Maybe they won't always be there, but I mean, is that something that you agree with?
Oh my gosh, definitely now. Since COVID, everybody's all over the place. It does
Yeah.
not, I mean, people are more so out of LA and New York than they used to be because so much is on Zoom and on camera, and the potential is everywhere. Especially you have Actors Access. You have so many markets depending where you are, Chicago, Texas. My husband's in Arkansas right now. He was in El Paso. I mean, it's just all over. With voiceover, you have classes like the Voice Connection that are with all the major artists. Most classes are on Zoom now.
Yeah.
So I really think, especially if you're in the entertainment industry right now, what a beautiful time to live wherever you want to live.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can become famous overnight anywhere, especially with the access of people don't like it, but you have TikTok and Instagram. Say you're amazing at voices. Well, get them on TikTok. You can be discovered through that way. I mean, you have so many tools at your fingertips. If there ever is a time to not be in those main markets, it's now. It's like, how lucky. Start a YouTube channel. I mean, it's incredible. And research classes. I mean, I just had my neighbor right now we are staying in Texas because of what Eric is doing. And usually, like right now, he's gone for 2 months. So I have help with the kids. So my sweet neighbor, her son was like, oh, well, I want to be an actor because he loves Mr. Eric next door. And he got on Actors Access and he's been doing on tapes and getting callbacks. And he's like an 11-year-old from Fort Worth, Texas. It's so cool. So I think if there's ever a time, and ever a time there is now, to reach out to artists that you love. So many artists are so amazing and they want to share and want to help. I'm the first to be like, oh, try this class or see if you can get into this. Backstage.com. I mean, there's so many great tools. So yes. If there's ever a time, there's no excuse right now to not be in the entertainment industry if you want it. Because right now is the time to definitely do it.
Well, you know, and speaking of social media, I think right now, I mean, like you said, TikTok, and it's all social media right now. I think that getting on something like, you know, so I don't know that you have to get on every single thing, but I mean, what is your opinion on social media and you know, because social media could be good or bad. I mean,
totally.
As you build your career, one misstep on social media could mean the end of your career if you don't do something the right way. So, you know, with somebody like yourself who's a professional in the industry, and you know, how do you navigate the social media, and you know, I guess you got to really, you know, think about the next step that you take on what you post, right? Could mean a lot for your career, right?
Yes. Yeah. And being very cautious, but I also think you have to view social media, it's still a business.
Yeah.
And say you do something you don't mean to, or it's taken a wrong way. It's just like a movie in a sense. So you can get bad reviews.
Right.
And nobody, I think, especially with younger kids and children, nothing is ever the end. You think it might be the end, and everybody might be coming so hot and heavy on you, but that's okay. You know what I mean? I truly believe in my heart of hearts, people come from a place of good, like yourself. Maybe you didn't mean something like that, or, you know, that it's a hard time for that moment. But social media can be turned off and turn off and go walk outside and go be with the people that know you. So that's my belief on the social media sense. Because I do think since COVID, it can be used as a tool, not in the good. But that is okay. That doesn't mean social media is a business, and it's not who you are, and it's not your heart. And it is, I know that is always my parents even taught me that as a little kid too. It's like, we can't get past, or you can always get past anything, no matter what in life. So that is my belief. It's like, if your heart is in a good place, least if no matter what, you know that it truly came from a good place.
Right.
And that people will always end up seeing the good if that's where your heart is.
Yeah, for sure.
So I went on a tangent with that, but
that's well said. I mean, you said it perfectly. And I think, you know, sometimes you don't intend to, you know, when you put something out, you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't mean it that way.
Yes.
Something on Facebook, I'll say something and my friends won't like, that didn't sound, I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it. You know, that's not me, right?
Yes.
You know,
and it's like when you read a text message, it's like, I can say, hey, how are you? Well, that can come off hey, how are you?
Right.
Like,
It's how
hey,
you
how are
take
you?
it. Yeah.
It's how you take it. So, and depending what your mood is that day,
Yeah.
how you respond to that.
Yeah.
So, I think I think you have to take it with a grain of salt. It can be the
Yeah.
best business tool, and it can be a bruiser.
Yeah,
So, kind of
exactly.
depending the day, and kind of depending where our world is at that moment. We all go through something in a sensitive time, or whatever happens in the world during that moment.
Yeah.
So I like to be cautiously optimistic
Optimistic. Yeah.
is my
Same here.
view on things. So
Well, you're a very positive person, I can tell. I mean, that's something that, it kind of leads me to my next question is building relationships and building partnerships with people in the industry that are positive and people that have your best interest at heart. And, so what is your take on that? Networking and building the relationships in the business that, for future work possibly.
yes, and I believe too, it's like it's the people that are just like take that our industry with networking especially, it's a give and take, and most people are willing and want to help, but it can't come from a place of selfishness either.
Right.
It's got to be coming from a place of humble and hustle and gratitude and almost like an admirership to someone. Oh, I think what you did is awesome. Do you have any advice? And truly, if it comes from a place of that, I think that's where you see a lot of the people in the public. I get upset when people just want a selfie instead of actually asking them,
Just talking, right?
I admire you. And
Yeah.
if they want to get a selfie, that's awesome. I see why you want to, especially with somebody you admire. But it is really
Right.
cool just to go, oh my gosh, I am at the time I didn't have an agency and I got on, I think it was Actors Access.
Yeah.
And some people, like if coming from a school, they were like, you don't want to you have your agency do it. And I was like, whatever, YOLO.
Yeah.
And I submitted myself for an audition, and it was just called Losing It at the time. And it ended up being with John Stamos, and it was
Oh,
Losing
wow.
It with John Stamos. And
Yeah.
I got to be on set with all these amazing people. And that was my very, very first on camera. So I always think keeping yourself, the humble hustle is what Eric and I's motto is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is you gotta hustle, no matter where you are. And humble. It could all end tomorrow, as we all know with COVID. I mean, so just be grateful and gratitude. And that is with networking. It's if you come from a place I'll harp on that all day, a place
Yeah.
of good, people can read that, especially in LA. People are really good about being able to read the BS.
Right.
So
They can see through
I
it. Yeah.
think that if you come really from a place of good, a lot of people are honored to give any advice they can.
Yeah, that's well said and great advice. The other thing I would talk about is your producing, because you've got multiple Emmys from producing, and we've worked with Bryan Cranston and a lot of different people, and your husband Eric, and when you guys when you produce works like that with these people, I mean, to get an Emmy like to award you for your work on those, that must be just exhilarating to get an Emmy like that, because that's one of those things that, out of all the awards, I think, I love TV, I guess, television, and, to get an Emmy award, I think would just be an amazing thing. So what was it like to get your first Emmy award?
Oh my goodness. We were on a show, producers and still dear friends of The Bay, which
Right.
at the time was on Amazon Prime, and Gregory Martin came to us. Actually came to Eric at the Emmys and was like, I love you on All My Children. Would you ever be interested of joining the Bay? Well, of course we had heard about the Bay. It was such a hot topic then.
Right.
And it still is now. Everyone wants to be a part of it. And Eric was like, yes, but we are really interested in being producers as well on the show.
Sure.
And so Gregory was amazing. He was like, yes, we would love you guys on board. So got to produce our first season, and they hadn't won an Emmy yet. And so we were at the Emmy Awards. Never thinking, you never think you're going to win an Emmy. So I invited my mom and dad, my grandparents, and we were all there just living our best lives. Like, how cool that we're even here. And we won. And when it was like even everybody, we were all bawling. We were like, what just happened?
What just happened? Yeah.
Is this happening right? It was the craziest experience ever. And it's so wild. We giggle. We just produced our first Broadway play called The Inheritance.
Oh, nice.
and it was right before COVID hit, and the Tony Awards came back, and it was the night before I gave birth to my son, Mick.
Oh,
And so
wow.
literally at 11 p.m., we won Tony Awards. And by 7 a.m., my son Mick was born.
That's
Well, I was in the
incredible.
hospital at 7 a.m. He was born at 9:27 a.m.
Were you in attendance for the Tonys?
No. Can
Oh,
you?
you-
I was
okay.
like, I giggle because I wasn't allowed to fly.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, I
I was like,
didn't think
that
so.
would have made it even. Then we would have had to name him Tony.
Yeah, he's right.
It's so wild that we giggle. I remember holding Mick that night, and I was like, Eric, that was the most insane 24 hours I think that we'll ever experience.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah. Wow.
oh my God. And he was
Crazy.
in the middle of 1883 shooting. So we were like, what is happening right now? It's moments like that, especially as we were discussing before, you constantly hear a place of no.
Mhm.
You have to remember those little moments of sparkle in our industry because
Yes.
that's and to book the gig, that doesn't happen. That you shouldn't be doing it for that. You should be doing it for the love of the industry and the
Sure.
love of the arts, because that's what will keep you going.
Yeah.
The booking it is just like a great extra, and the awards are just a great extra. But the people you meet and reading these scripts and being a part of, if you don't love the classes and love the hustle of it, you definitely probably aren't in the right industry, because you'll be doing more of that than you will being on, the 1% on set every single day.
One of the things that most of the actors that I speak to on this show, they almost all say the same thing: how much they love going to not only acting classes, but some of their greatest friends in the industry are their teachers that were whatever the teachers were in that acting class. I mean, they look up to those teachers, and they might have 5, 6, 7 acting classes that they've been to, but they just look up to all those teachers. So that's the important thing. Like you said, you have to love it to be able to go to not only go to work, but to continue to grow as an actor.
Yeah, well, and I think you even look at neurosurgeons. They're not done with their education. They always have to they're always doing classes of like the new technology. Well, why wouldn't it be the same with acting?
That's why they call it a practice, right?
Yes, amen.
Yeah.
And like you always have to keep the car in tune.
Yeah.
I mean, you just always have to keep fine tuning your career. And I know A-list actors, they're all still in classes and
Right.
still coaching and have their coaches on set. I mean, it's just something you have to love about it. I mean, that's just a part of it.
Yeah, for sure. I guess also, the fact that you do so many different things at once. I mean, how do you manage that? How do you manage your career, I guess, when you have all those different voiceover pieces and producing pieces and everything that you're doing? How do you manage that?
Oh my goodness. A great calendar.
And being a mom too.
Yes, I was about to say a great babysitter. I have an amazing team of babysitters that I truly could not do, especially like right now. I'm single momming it because Eric is shooting. Right. So I have my Jenny, my Maya, and my Nancy that I can't live without, that help me, that I can escape in my studio. So that comes first, is the momming always comes first. But I always say a great calendar and people's patience, and just knowing that, as you know, with kids, if you get a call, it's like you got to drop everything and go right there. So I was telling this story the other day. Eric was doing the red carpet for Yellowstone, and he got asked by Paramount to interview some of the cast members, and our son was in the ICU that night. No. And I was like, with RSV, and of course no one had to know. And I told Eric, I was like, we've worked so hard for this. You go. I got this. I told the nurses, I was like, if things get really bad, call my husband. But that's during 1883 shooting, our son was so sick during it all. And it's just a part of our industry. It's like, you really never know what's going on in people's lives. And we're lucky that our field is we get to escape and play pretend in a sense. So no matter what's going on, if you have a strong foundation of family around, or friends, or babysitter, or a great calendar or dog walker, you're able to escape and into the arts for a moment in time. And
Yeah.
and come back to reality.
Kind of give you that balance a little bit, which I think people need, that work-life balance. And, that's well said again. And, Sainty, I always ask everybody this, and I'm going to ask you as well, but when it's all said and done, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want people to remember you by when they hear your name?
Besides my children, because I want them to be my legacy for life, just kindness, and that I made them feel good and smile. And it's my legacy. I don't care about how many people know my name or how many awards, or I just want them to have, if they had met me, to have positive things to say about me, and that I made them smile and made them feel good for a moment in time.
Yeah, that's great. Well, you're obviously a positive person, and that's what I'm taking away.
I really appreciate it.
I really enjoyed having you on, Sainty, and you're always welcome on the show. You, your husband, anybody else in your circle. So, just really a pleasure to have you on, and thank you for taking the time tonight.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, and everybody keep at it. Keep the hustle.
Yes. Thank you so much, Sainty.
Thank you.